The resident experience and feedback has been tremendous since we've deployed Swiftlane in a number of our communities. The feedback is that it's seamless, the experience is much better. We tend to get a lot of positive comments around the facial recognition. Personally, we've got Swiftlane at our office, so I use that daily. Before we had a biometric reader where it would work maybe 1 out of 5 times. So it is that consistency and that ease of access that really has been the game changer. I'm Trilogy's Chief Operating Officer and one of our founding partners. From my standpoint, I touch all aspects of the business, but my core focuses have been on property management, asset management, technology, and then more recently development, as we've started to develop more prolifically over the last 8 to 10 years. Trilogy is a multifamily owner, operator, and developer. We're based in Chicago. We've got assets throughout the Midwest plus Southeast. Currently have about 5,000 units in the portfolio. And then on the resident side, we're looking for a much more seamless experience, something that's easy to use, that's integrated in, things that are similar to their daily workflows and daily life. Certainly that tech forward looking piece, where people are comfortable, we can meet them where they're at. So mobile based. I really focus in on user experience. And when I say that, I mean it on both sides. So it's our internal user that's dealing sort of with the back end of the system, and then our residents who are dealing on the front end, the forward facing side. And a lot of the systems we use historically may have one or the other, but not both. You need to invest in something that standardizes the operation, that enhances, of course, your customer experience, both internal and external, and continues to grow with you as you scale your portfolio. Access control is one of those things that sounds simple until you try and scale it across a portfolio, especially as a lot of our systems are inherited from prior owners or developers. So we're dealing with multiple systems across portfolio. We're dealing with fobs and key cards and intercoms that are largely disconnected. And so that creates a lot of operational friction with our on-site teams. And, of course, that leads to resident frustration. From our standpoint at a high level, the inability to sort of access all the systems in one centralized hub, it was probably the biggest issue. But certainly as you're inheriting systems that you may not have chosen or hand selected, that might not be the best in breed. People may have been doing it from a cost standpoint, or they may have looked at what they've used historically, but it isn't always the best solution for us as a company. We were actually seeking out differentiators in the market space, and we weren't just looking for a vendor, we were looking for a platform partner. And what really stood out about Swiftlane was the ability to centralize access across the properties. And we really wanted a modern, tech-forward, mobile-first experience for our residents and a system that we could scale with. But honestly, the biggest differentiator was alignment. They understood the operational complexity of our space, and they weren't trying to force a one-size-fits-all solution on us. For me, it's a game changer. Instead of having sort of property by property management, we can now work towards that centralized visibility across the portfolio. We can standardize our workflows for onboarding residents, and the ability to push updates, permissions, and changes remotely from a centralized standpoint just makes it easier on the team as a whole. And for on-site teams, it means less time dealing with manual issues and more time focused on the residents. And you have people that are moving in that don't have their hands free, so the ability for them to walk in the door with as little friction as possible is something that seems small, but actually is pretty meaningful, instead of juggling, key fobs or keys to get access into their unit or into their building. And then ultimately faster move-ins and smoother day-to-day living. It's certainly reduced friction for our teams and of course our residents, but from our team specifically, it's an automated workflow, so we really don't have to do a lot. And then on top of that, we're not getting as many complaints from our residents as it pertains to access control. So both on the front end, it's an easier lift, and then on the back end, there's less issues to deal with. So I think it's very important to partner with a group that can kind of bring you to that cutting or bleeding edge. And Swiftlane's done a great job of doing that. It's a low-cost entry item into the space, and it's also super easy to use. From our standpoint, it's not just that interaction to get into your building or get into your apartment. It's really more of creating a seamless experience for our residents. So it's something that ties into our brand. We want everything to be seamless, right? From the moment you interact with us to lease an apartment to the moment you move out, we want that experience to really be as easy as possible for our customers. And Swiftlane has just been an integral part of that as it pertains to access in and out of our communities.